This model is a cross-section of human skin. It's a great model for histology because it has examples of all 4 types of tissue: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous system. The skin is divided into 3 layers. There's the bottommost hypodermis. The middle and thickest layer is called the dermis. And then the outermost layer is the epidermis. The epidermis is the layer that faces the air. The hypodermis is made up of adipose cells, loose adipose, right? So this is basically fat cells, and this is the layer of fat at the base of your skin that helps insulate you, right? Keeps you from losing too much heat to the air. The dermis is also primarily made up of connective tissue. At the base of the dermis, we have mostly dense, irregular connective tissue that's good for strengthening the tissue and being able to move in many different directions. The uppermost part of the dermis, where we can see more of the blood vessels poking through in red and blue, is made up of loose or areolar connective tissue, and it is immediately below the epidermis, which is made up of stratified, keratinized, squamous epithelial tissue. And we'll zoom in on that in a second. Some of the other features that we can see on this model are the hair. Okay, here it is poking out of the skin. And we can see that there's also glandular epithelium here on either side of the hair. These are the sebaceous glands that produce oil that leaves the gland and helps lubricate the hair and the skin on the outside of the body. Another thing that's visible in the dermis is smooth muscle. This muscle here is the erector pili muscle, and it's responsible for making your hairs stand up when you're cold or scared. That is a muscle that is not under voluntary control, so it's not a skeletal muscle, it's a smooth muscle. We can also see some nervous tissue in the dermis of the skin. Up here at the top of the dermis, we have a little sensory receptor. And when your skin gets poked or touched, it activates that nervous system tissue and sends a signal to your nervous system that you've been touched. It's a little more complicated than that, and there are other sensory nervous system tissues in the skin, but we'll just stick with this one for now because it's visible in this model. We're going to zoom in next on the epidermis and talk about the epithelial tissues that make up the epidermis of the skin. Stratified squamous keratinized epithelial cells line the outermost layer of the skin, which is called the epidermis. On our model, that goes from this light purple-pink layer all the way to the top of the skin. The cells on the surface, the outermost part of the epidermis, are squamous cells. They're very flat, and they're actually dead. So this light pink layer here is a dead layer of skin. They're filled with a substance called keratin, which helps strengthen the skin and helps it avoid desiccation, avoid drying out. So it's protecting the body from drying out. The cells down here at the base of the epidermis are cuboidal cells, but as they get pushed upward, as new cells are grown below them, they flatten and flatten over time until they are in the squamous shape at the top. And epithelial tissues that are stratified are named for the shape of the cells on their apical surface. And since these are squamous, this is considered squamous epithelial tissue. The tissue underlying the base of the stratified squamous keratinized epithelial cells in the epidermis is loose connective tissue down here. And this layer of tissue is regularly going to lose dead cells to abrasion, and then they'll be replaced by new cells that are grown from the bottom and pushed upward